Hello, I'm Casper, and this is my friend KB. I'm going to be interviewing her for this extraordinary opportunity. So KB, can I ask you, what does communication mean to you personally or professionally? Is it like in your line of work? How would you define or describe it?
Because as my background, I have a pharmacy technician background. So for me, communication is kind of like letting my patient understand what I'm prescribing to them, making sure that it's easy for them to understand and that they understand how to use the medications. So this is what I define as communication. Simple, easy to understand and effective in communicating my points. And on a personal level, it's more of like something that I would want the opposite person to understand. Like, yeah, it's just clear and concise more to make sure that my point is like I don't know how to say it. It's like how I view my points and how the other person understands it. It's communication. It has to go both ways. Like, I have to speak to understand, the person must get it as well.
Quite a good understanding actually. It's like we have like this thing called interactive communication. Yeah, that's why.
What is it?
Yeah, that's not bad.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Okay, and then so now that you mentioned like you use it in your life and your work, right?
Yeah.
How do you handle like any conflict or misunderstanding?
I try to rephrase it in a way that the other person will understand my point, or I would try to change my communication style based on the other person to make sure that they understand my point to solve the conflict in general. If the other person don't understand my point of view, or like when conflicts arise, I will also try to understand their point of view or like how they deal with conflict to like eventually find a solution that would bring both sides to like a mutual understanding.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, very pragmatic. Yeah. Okay. And next is something I think like both of us have talked about before in the past. How do you think communication differs across generations and cultures?
So for different generations, I feel like for the older generation, they are more of a type where they would avoid communications compared to our generation because they're growing up with this mindset that they can solve their own problems, they don't need help, and everything needs to be done on their own. Compared to like our current generation where we rely on others for help, we tend to communicate our thoughts more, and like social media also helps to increase the prevalence of like communication. So it's more open and less stigmatized to share your thoughts, your inner feelings, compared to the older generation where you tell other people like, oh, I'm like depressed or what, then they will like stigmatize you or they will just box you in a stereotype. I feel like it's more open now, so communication has improved a lot since then. And with culture, Asian culture is very conservative in a way, but now, as I said, through social media and everything is also starting to change. Everything is less stigmatized and people are more willing to open up.
Yeah. So it's kind of like because we have more exposure to it from a young age, like you mentioned, like social media all that age. So like it really helps.
Yeah, it really helps.
Okay. And are there any? So you've been speaking quite well so far.
Thank you.
Yeah. I want to ask, are there any communication skills you have worked on intentionally?
Yes, in terms of work, I did improve my communication skills in terms of language because in school back in poly, I was actually taught to speak medical jargon in English, but after my internship and my work, I have learned that most of these patients require like another language or like maybe a different dialect to fully understand what their medications are. So I purposely went to search up medical jargon in Chinese. So when I explain my medications to them, it's more of like it's easier for them to understand as well. And then in terms of other communication styles, I tend to make sure that my words are more easy to understand, I guess, instead of beating around the bush. I feel like speaking directly to the point will decrease the chance of having any like conflicts.
So, with that being said, how different do you think your life would be if like suddenly competition was not accessible or you're taken away or like restricted? For example, certain things you just cannot see or like you censorship or that kind of thing.
I feel like it will be very difficult. It will be very, very difficult because the world revolves around communication. Like the basis of human interaction is communication and language. So without this communication, everyone will be very difficult to like, understand each other's thoughts, each other's perspective, and like how each other like how we think lor. So it's more conflicts will arise because there's less ways of solving the actual problem because of the lack of communication. If certain things are censored, people are oppressed and they cannot like voice their opinions, it will be like a very oppressed society. Yeah, and this will create like a very tense environment in general, I guess. Yeah, it's not that good.
Okay. So far you've been speaking a lot based on your work. You mentioned like learning medical jargon and that kind
Yeah.
of thing, right? Do you remember any specific time or just in general where communication has helped you succeed in work or in your personal life?
Oh, okay, that's interesting. Actually, yes, because for communication, like I mean, between friends, there's definitely communication breakdown, there's definitely misunderstandings, and then because I'm a person that likes to solve problems straight away instead of avoiding them, so I confronted like my friend lah, like I spoke to him about like certain issues or like why is he feeling like a certain way about a certain thing, then I understand his point of view through communicating. From there I'm able to like accommodate him and like reintroduce him back into my friend group and solve the problem in general instead of like totally creating like a fallout. And then for simple medical jargon, there's once a patient came to me to ask me about like certain stuff because the pharmacist before me like explained to him like really difficult. But then because of my simplification of like difficult medical jargon, even though he asked me to repeat it 3 times, he eventually got it. And then this gives me like a very, very strong sense of satisfaction in a way that I am able to help this patient now. And because he's so grateful for it, I'm also very touched that like my expertise in this sense can actually benefit him.
Oh, okay, yeah. Interesting story actually. Yeah. Yeah. So, would you say that is the most challenging communication situation you have faced? Maybe the one with your friend group or the patient situation?
The more challenging one is friend group because everyone around the same age will have almost the same way of thinking, and that because of this, I feel that many conflicts may arise if people don't agree with each other in that sense because we are brought up almost the same way, but how to say, everyone has their own thinking.
Okay.
And it's more difficult to communicate with people that in our same generation as compared to me speaking with an elderly.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, something like that. I
Yeah,
feel.
and then like when you are with your friends, like sometimes like emotions get in the way also. It feels like more
Yes,
personal.
because there's more like emotional burden. Yeah, because you are their friend. You want to like how to say like give them like the best lah. Like you want to be honest with them, but at the same time you also don't want to like hurt their feelings. You know? So there's like a very delicate balance on how you like phrase your words in order not to hurt them, but at the same time also provide them with some truth of what you're feeling.
Okay, yeah. It's delicate balance. Actually,
Yeah.
I feel like you actually understand comms quite well, even though you don't.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Wow, very honored.
Sociology major, by the way. Yeah. So, this is our last question, really. Actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think it's one that you will like, considering how often you use it.
Yeah.
What role does technology, like for example social media,
Mm-hmm.
play in how you communicate with others?
I think social media has a very large impact lah, in a way, because something like TikTok, Instagram, it provides different viewpoints on how people view communication in terms of like maybe couple relationship issues, how to deal with friend issues, or maybe even stuff like mental health. How it's communicated there brings up different perspectives and it will change our mindset. So we will be more like either more open or closed throughout like based on what we consume online. And then because of its prevalence and its accessibility, right, it's like very easy to get influenced in a sense. Like, because like every day we are like scrolling. So it eventually gets in our head.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Okay, yeah. Okay, thank you for your answers. Thank you for your time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, no problem.
Let's hope that. Oh, we're drilling. Okay, let's hope that the
Yeah,
audio
let's hope
is
the
okay.
drilling
Yeah.
doesn't.
Okay. Thank you, Amy.